Hello, class, and welcome to part one of our video review of logical fallacies. As we've been discussing all semester, right, to make an argument valid, right, you want to have premises to support the conclusion, right? Just as it says in our textbook, right? When you put something into standard form, you break an argument down into its essence, into its conclusion supported by premises. Premises, reasons, conclusion is the inference, right? What is your claim? So when people make fallacious arguments, they're making arguments that sometimes fool human reasoning, but are not logically valid, right? The book says an argument on page 123, an argument that is persuasive, but does not logically support its conclusion. I can't help but think of Lady Macbeth, right? If you love me, you'll do this. If you're, right, a man, you'll do this. And both of those claims persuade Macbeth illogically, though, right? Because they're based on the hidden assumptions, right? Because she's saying, if you're this, if you love me, right? So he wants to be a man. He wants her to know that he loves her. But again, although that may be persuasive, it's not logic. They're based on the hidden assumptions, right? That we show our love through killing people and we show our masculinity through killing people. So again, her fallacious arguments are able to persuade him, but they're not logically valid. And during his moments of omniscience, he lets us know that he recognizes it's not logical, but he does it anyway, which makes it so frustrating as a reader. Here I am, digressing into Macbeth already. What am I, like a minute into this video lecture? You know me, I'm a bartolator. So that being said, onto the appeal, the fallacious arguments in the book. The first one, right, the Latin term non sequitur, right, covers most fallacies. It just literally in Latin means it does not follow. So if you ever want to use the Latin phrasing, right, non sequitur, a conclusion or statement that does not logically follow. So it covers all fallacies. So they're all non sequiturs. You can add that to your kind of tool belt of critical thinking terms and strategies. So that being said, let's pick up back with, right, fallacious arguments. The first one in the book on page 123 is an appeal to authority. Now you'll notice that I'm using the website logicallyfallacious.com, and I will put the link on the page of this video for any of the web pages we go over. So appeal to an authority. It's a fallacious argument when someone appeals to something and claims to be an authority in a subject they are not. Again, when famous people try to tell you who to vote for, or whom you should vote for, when they try to tell you what kind of car you should buy. Again, Michael Jordan has an ethos in basketball, so he's an authority on basketball sneakers and things related to basketball, but I'm not necessarily sure he's going to persuade me to buy Hanes t-shirts. Is he an authority on the cotton construction of t-shirts, so on and so forth? You get where I'm going with this. That's a more trivial example, but when people are trying to get people to do serious considerations for a decision-making process and they claim to be an authority falsely, it is what we call an appeal to authority. Next up, appeal to fear. Well, and you know, if I just may say, as far as this coronavirus and COVID-19, a lot of people are claiming to be authorities on it, and they do not have the medical ethos, right, the credibility to back that up. So again, consider the source. That's essentially a modern day expression related to appeal to authority. Consider the source. Appeal to fear, right? When the person, now again, why are they using these fallacies? Because either they don't have logic or they don't want to tell you their reason, right? So they try and disguise it in fallacious appeals, right? Obviously, Lady Macbeth wants Macbeth to do things that she knows are illogical, so she has to appeal to him through fallacious reasoning to persuade him. Now, sometimes instead of giving you logical reasons, right? In addition to claiming to be an authority when someone may not be, someone may also, instead of using logic, try to use fear to scare you into making a decision. And when we're at these moments of heightened emotion, right, they call this scare tactics as well. People usually don't make logical decisions at moments of heightened emotion. That's why you want to try and stay balanced and logical and try to avoid excessive appeals to emotion, one being an appeal to fear, another being an appeal to pity. Our next one, instead of giving you a logical reason, they try to use sympathy, right? To distract, right, from the truth of a conclusion by the use of pity, right? Next up, begging the question. Now, this one is very common in modern society and culture in two particular expressions, right? When parents say, because I said so, they're begging the question. Remember, you're repeating your conclusion as the reason for the conclusion. And again, you don't give a reason because either you don't have one or you don't want to tell the reader or the listener what the reason is. So parent says, go to your room, and the kid says, why? And the parent says, because I said so. What are they essentially saying? Go to your room because I said so, right? Go to your room because I said to go to your room. It's circular reasoning. What's the reason why you're sending the person to the room? Well, either you don't have one or you don't want to say it. Go to your room because I'm tired of seeing you. I don't want to hear your voice anymore. I just want to be alone, right? Again, so a lot of times when children want to know the reason for something and parents either don't have a reason or don't want to tell them the reason, they'll just say, because I said so. The other more common, or the other very common one, I should say, and perhaps it is more common, when someone breaks up with someone and they say, why? And they say, it's not you, it's me. It's kind of like that Homer Simpson duh moment, or no S Sherlock, right? You know how sometimes people say no, and then the bad word Sherlock, meaning, right, it's obvious, right? So when someone restates the conclusion as the reason for the conclusion and they don't give a reason, right, it'll kind of lead to that like duh moment, right? And it's you, not me is a great example of that. What do you mean? I'm breaking up with you, right? Why? It's not you, it's me. So what are you saying to the person you're breaking up with? I'm breaking up with you because I'm breaking up with you. Now, again, it's usually because you don't want to say the reason, right? Or you don't have a reason. Most of the time it's you don't want to tell them, right? You have bad breath. I don't like you anymore. You're boring. I don't know, whatever. Again, so two very popular uses of begging the question in modern culture, right? Next up, double standard. An example of a double standard is discrimination, right? This notion that there are two different standards, two situations. It's okay for men, but not okay for women, vice versa, right? Any sort of discrimination is usually a result of not only double standards, but also hasty generalizations, which we'll get to that later, kind of those leading into stereotyping. So double standards, right? And discrimination is a good example of that. And the opposite of a double standard is equality and equity. So our last one for the first reading on fallacies, equivocation. Oh boy. So the word to equivocate means to use ambiguous, unclear, or unclear expressions, usually to avoid commitment or in order to mislead, to prevaricate or hedge. It's basically a fancy word for lying, right? It's a euphemism for lying, right? And when people say, oh, I didn't lie, it was a white lie, they're equivocating the word lie, as if a white lie isn't really a lie, because what is it? It's a lie that you tell because you think that you know what's best for the person more than they know for themselves. But it's still a lie. Oh, no, but my intentions aren't there. No, it's still a lie. It's an equivocation, right? And kind of white lies, aren't they maybe an act of hubris, kind of arrogance? If somebody asks you a question, shouldn't you answer it honestly? No, no, no. I think I know what they want me to say more than an honest answer. So to equivocate means to mislead. It's, like I said, a euphemism for lying. And you'll notice in Macbeth, the witches equivocate when they give him those three prophecies towards the end of the play. Now, again, you might not have gotten to the end of the play, so I will hold off, but pay attention in the very last act when Macbeth refers to the equivocators that lie like truth. It's a lie, but it sounds like truth. That's what equivocation is. Using an ambiguous term in more than one sense, thus making an argument misleading. I'll leave you with this example of equivocation, a personal anecdote. I always encourage that you include anecdotes in your essays, and let me share one with you. Many years ago in my first marriage, and perhaps that's why we're divorced. No, just kidding, but we still get along quite well. We're friends, but again, this demonstrates equivocation. So I got a speeding ticket. I didn't tell my wife. I wrote the check. This is back when checkbooks, you wrote checks, and the checks got mailed to the house at the end of each month, and you kind of balanced it to make sure. And she saw the check and said, whoa, what's this, multiple $100 check to the DMV for? And I said, oh, that's for my speeding ticket. And she said, why didn't you tell me about it? And my equivocation, my response was, you never asked. I equivocated the word asked. Why? She said, when you came home from work that day, and I said, how was your day? Why didn't you tell me, oh, it was okay, but I got a speeding ticket? And I said, because you didn't ask, how was your day? And by the way, did you get a speeding ticket? And she nevertheless got very frustrated and upset with me, as she should. So again, I share that example with you all so you can avoid equivocating in the future. Because when someone asks you how your day was, they want the good, the bad, and the ugly. They shouldn't have to say, how was your day? And did this, or this happen in order for you to answer honestly and unambiguously, right? Clearly. When people use fallacies and equivocation, they obfuscate, another one of our bold-faced terms from the book. So you want to avoid obfuscation and use logos at all times to appear fair and honest. So I hope this was a helpful review of the first part of the fallacies reading. Stay tuned, and part 2 will happen shortly. Thanks for listening and watching, and as always, get in touch if you have any questions.